just like we promised, we haven't moved a muscle. We're still here.
Yeah,
for you.
Exactly.
For
Really,
you.
like here 24/7, just so we're here on time,
Just
no
in
matter
case.
what.
Just in case. Are you here?
How'd you change? You changed your
seem
shirt
to
though.
be.
You changed your shirt.
Well, yeah, I ducked under the desk. I had
Oh,
some
all right.
things.
Okay, I was wondering.
I slipped in, by the way.
Did
Yes.
you?
Yeah,
Oh, imagine.
Oh
that.
yes,
We have a guest.
One of my most awesomest guests is Al's representative, I should say, Al Baldasaro, from
Most
the big
distinguished
city,
representative, Al Baldasaro.
Big town of Londonderry.
Londonderry.
You know, we're the 9th largest town in the state.
No, I did not
Almost
know that.
25,000 people in Londonderry.
I think we're the Ware is actually the second largest.
Yeah.
Square miles.
Where?
Yeah,
Yeah.
square miles anyway.
Square miles, yeah. I think
Not people.
Londonderry, I think, is probably the second or third, somewhere around there.
Yeah, we
third.
got 64 square miles.
Yeah, you got bigger than us. I think we're like 36.
Yeah,
38.
we're huge.
Yeah, I don't know what mark of distinction Nashua's got where I'm from. Most underused mills.
Yeah, you got
Most
everything on
underused
top
mills.
of everyone's on top of everybody in Nashua.
Yeah.
You know, and the way when I
Kind of.
work with Rep Ken Gids, it sounds like everyone's got deep pockets because they don't mind keep taxing the people there. in Nashua.
You ain't kidding. You ain't
Yeah.
kidding. Yeah, it's an interesting vibe in that
And I was
city.
surprised Nashua voted in all Democrats, and all they want to do is keep spending people's money.
They sure do.
Well, it's
That's,
it's the thing is once you get over a certain threshold of Democrats, they'll just keep voting themselves in and spending more and more and more money until you end up like Detroit.
You know, eventually they're going to run out of other people's money.
That's what happens.
Right
That's what
now,
I'm
the
saying.
people keep voting them in, and then eventually they'll realize, what am I doing? I can't afford to live here anymore in the city.
You know, the people with money, well, if they're smart, they'll put their house on the market, move out while the houses are still selling,
Right.
and then eventually it reaches a tipping point where all of a sudden the housing prices go down, and you end up with like Detroit, which
yeah.
they can't.
Highland Park. I actually, when I retired from the Marine Corps, I went out there. I was with a company who were doing acquisitions, hiring, firing, and went in there, and I hired like 90% workforce there, all, matter of fact, black Americans.
Right.
Because, I mean, the building, you've been to Highland Park, it looks like a war zone. And the unions came in and wanted to take a piece of the pie because they weren't union. Now, we're paying people $14 an hour, supervisors.
What year?
This was in 2001.
Okay, so $14 isn't
Yeah.
too bad.
Right. You know, 14.
What are they doing for work though?
What they're doing is, you know, like the Walmart or all these, they got these big pallets, they're plastic.
Yeah.
And what happens, this company that owns them all, when they go and do the delivers, they go to this warehouse and they fix them, wash them, everything, and get them back out to the markets.
Right.
Okay.
So when I say $14 an hour at that time,
So
when
you're
I retired in 98, I'm sorry, it was 1999. Our supervisors were making 14. I hired, you know, probably 100 and something people in there. And the workers were making $11 an hour.
Right.
Plus benefits after 90
Yeah,
days.
but wait. I had this discussion with a girl that was on the assembly line, I don't know how many years ago, at Kirk Motion Products. And she says, well, you guys in the machine shop, you guys make too much money. I said, whoa. I says, how long would it take the company to train somebody to do what you're doing? She says, a month. I said, okay. It takes 5 years just to get into the door of the molding
Right,
shop
yep.
to make injection
That's
molds.
right.
5 years machining experience just to get your foot in the
You get
door.
certifications for that too, right?
Well, no, it's not certifications. It's just they just want people with enough experience so that
Right.
they're not training them from the ground up there. And I said 5 years experience just to get in the door. The mold makers back there, most of them have 10, 20 years experience.
Right.
And you need it. Mm-hmm. So it takes really 10 years for them to, if they took somebody from scratch, it would take them at least 10 years
Right.
before they had somebody that would be considered a competent mold maker. I said, you're only as worth as much as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so these guys, it sounds like
Well,
you
if
can
I-
train them in a week, right?
Yeah, no problem. We did a training, matter of fact, 3 days. But what happened
So
is,
$11
if I
an
can
hour
finish,
for no experience. No, I'm not
I'm
going to
going
let
to tell you what happened now. The union, we were in the old Ford factory. The union found out we were there.
Yeah.
Okay, they salted us.
What
They
does that
forced
mean?
meaning they came in, they forced a vote, a union vote. They got some people in there and make complaints there, and then they won the union vote. So I was sent back in there now because I'm the human resource manager to keep them running for about 60, 90 days. And what they did, they pack up and moved the company 60 miles up.
Right.
up the road there, and all them people lost their jobs, and it's a shame.
Just so they could
because-
maintain their control.
because the unions wanted a piece of the action out there.
Yeah.
I was so disgusted with those people. People crying. I mean, their families finally had an opportunity in that area. It's a depressed area. You know, to finally get work, and they got screwed by the union.
And the unions
That's
couldn't
why I
let
have
it
issues
fly.
with the union. I mean, I grew up in a union. You know, I seen them in action.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and I was disgusted over it. I felt bad for all them families.
Yeah. And what was gained?
Nothing.
Ultimately,
they all
nothing.
lost their jobs. You know, over union dues.
Don't make that mistake in your town.
You ain't kidding.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's great to be an American. You know, just another beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, you've joined us here at Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades.
Oh, yeah,
in case
we
we
didn't say
in
that.
case we failed to mention the,
Where am I?
the real buzzy
Rock,
name
paper,
of the show.
hand grenades. I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't realize that?
I just rushed from Concord. I thought I had a meeting.
Al. Okay, so I came up, I think I've said this on the show. My
What's that?
wife doesn't seem to acknowledge it, but I'm a genius. Okay?
I always thought you
Right,
were. I knew
I'm
you
a
were.
genius.
The
okay?
wife part of the genius.
The wife doesn't think I am.
Well,
I
I've
don't know
known
what
you
her
now,
problem is.
12, 13 years.
Right.
Yeah.
I've said
You've
that
always
many
been a
times.
genius.
Right. So
Yeah.
anyway, I came up with another genius idea today.
This guy's a politician.
This
No.
I came up. Wait, no.
Wait, if I
You're a
was a
lawmaker.
politician, I'd have to kiss the people's butt and tell them what they want to hear.
Right.
I'm elected official.
I
Yeah.
knew he was going to take the bait.
Yes.
I knew it.
No, wait. You got to hear my new genius idea.
Okay.
Okay,
Here,
go ahead,
here
go
it
ahead.
is. You know how, like, if somebody takes down a deer, they got to let him bleed out. They hang him for at least a day, 12 hours to a day, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but
they-
I'm not
they-
a hunter.
They let
But I
the-
own guns.
Yeah, they got to let it. They got to let the blood drain out and stuff like that, so it doesn't spoil the meat.
Yeah,
So
I-
my genius idea, right? You're gonna love this.
all right.
A deer spinner. Right?
Mhm.
It has a pole about 6 feet off the ground. You hang the deer on one side, a counterweight on the other side, and you get it up to about 1,000 RPM, and it only takes 30 minutes.
And where's the blood go? Like
All over the place.
in a bucket? Oh, nice.
1,000 RPM.
He-
That's deer pancakes.
Oh, yeah.
He hasn't thought that far yet. You know, the blood there.
Venison flapjack.
Yeah. You know, I remember when I was in the Marine Corps, a friend
Is
of
that
mine brought a
brilliant?
deer to my house.
That's graphic.
It's
He didn't.
graphic.
This was in North Carolina. He didn't have a tag or something. I don't know.
Right.
He said, "Al, you said you like deer meat." I said, "Hell yeah!" So I got it and did everything right in my garage. I didn't realize how much blood, and I didn't let the blood drain. It drained to my floor and in a bucket. You know, but I cut it up and shanks everything and ate it.
Yeah.
You know, cooked it, put it in the freezer. Delicious.
I'm going to follow your lead, Al. I'm going to do that in my condo.
Yeah.
See how that
Yeah,
flows.
do it in
See how the
condo.
neighbors feel about
I did
that.
in my garage in North Carolina at the base. You know, and so it was no problem at all. I had meat for a couple of months there for my family.
yeah.
It only took 6 months to clean the floor.
Yeah. Well, I laid plastic down, everything else.
Right,
so
right.
I was smart. I watched the Italian movies.
Yeah.
I watch the Italian movies. Wow. Wow.
You see the size of his trunk?
I noticed he has a very large trunk.
Yeah,
He could fit like 3, 4.
Well,
That's basic.
did you ever see Representative John Burt's Cadillac?
No.
You know the picture of my wedding, right, with the guns?
Yeah.
Well, he showed up at my wedding. I didn't
Famous
know this
picture.
was going on. Well, he opened up his trunk and apparently broke all the rifles were in his Cadillac trunk. All for the wedding.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a well-loved photograph.
It-
Oh,
I
it is.
love it. I love
That
it.
thing has been
Came
all
up
over
number
the
one
country.
on Google whenever anybody searched for Londonderry.
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
All you
yeah.
gotta do is do a Google search on Al's wedding picture.
Al?
Yeah, Al Baldasaro wedding picture.
It's a proud day for that.
Yeah,
city.
it's
Yeah.
a great Second Amendment moment.
Really
It was-
is.
And I can't even take credit. It was my wife that thought about it.
Yeah,
she
it was-
brought up the idea.
I know, because Bert contacted me, and I offered to bring a couple of my guns, because I went to the wedding, and
Right.
and
I miss all the fun.
he what the heck, he had already had enough. He says, I'm all set. We got enough already. I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
okay. So
And
that
it-
was
It
I
was
pretty
funny.
psyched.
Were you with us when we were joking about it? When they said, "What if I don't show up for the wedding?" Because I built a new bridge on the other side of the house.
Yeah, you
I
did.
said, "I'll just cross the bridge," and Judy and John both said at the same time, "Well, a shotgun wedding." And that's what it was. That's where the joke came from.
exactly
Right,
what it
right.
was.
And then there was a Democrat here, a liberal, who's not a rep anymore, Pete or something. I don't remember the idiot's name. He's a lawyer. But anyway, he thought he was going to get me. Stole the picture off of John Bird's site, posted it out there, and they thought they were going to knock me out on election. They failed. I've
You
been
thought
there
it would
6
be
terms.
incriminating or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
most people just thought it was super cool.
Yeah, that's right. We're in New Hampshire. Democrats, wake up. It's a Second Amendment state.
Yeah.
It is,
He
it
forgot
is.
which tribe to preach to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I co-sponsored with Dave Booton, who was a sponsor, Stay in Your Ground, where you have the right to protect yourself wherever you have the right to be.
And thank
Right.
goodness.
You know,
Thank
as long
goodness.
as you're not the aggressor.
Yeah, the burden of proof for self-defense is already high enough. There's 4 criteria, I believe, legally that you got to meet to prove that you were legitimately defending yourself by
Well,
using.
fear of life or fear of somebody else's life.
Yeah, but to have to prove that, to have to prove a negative, which was that I exhausted all my options and did not see a way for me to flee.
And
That's
hope,
proving a negative.
yeah, hope that you don't get shot in the back
Yeah,
Yeah,
or
that-
knifed in the back.
it
Yeah.
completely negates what Stand Your Ground is about.
Do you know in Massachusetts, people go to jail for protecting themselves in their own homes?
We actually had Penny Dean on last week. She was talking about people who
That's right.
protect themselves and what happens after.
Yeah.
And it's horrible.
It is. It's a shame. My duty, not only as a Marine, but as a father, as a husband, is to protect my family, my friends, the state, and others.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care. You know, I mean, I'm not aggressive, but, you know, if I fear for my life, God help them.
Right.
You know, one shot, one kill, that's Marine Corps way. Let God sort them out.
I was talking to one of
That's right.
our older statesmen up there. He was saying he was at a bar a bunch of years ago, and young guy, 30 or something, full of testosterone, no brains, kept bugging him and harping on him, and he just letting it go. Finally, he says, "Look, let's man to man, right? You're young and you're strong. I am too old to fight you. I'm not fast enough to run from you. That gives me only one option. Don't make me use it."
I like
He
that.
left him alone.
Well, I said the
He didn't
same.
even have to pat his jacket.
He didn't have to pat
Yeah,
his jacket.
I said the same thing. I'm too old to roll around the ground anymore. You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we break.
Yeah, we break easy. Yeah. But I mean, we're like New Hampshire's a very safe state. We're fortunate because people understand. You know, you have the right to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been voted #1 safest state in the country. You know, to raise a family and stuff for many years.
Right.
do you
and
remember-
the freest.
Remember about 6 years ago, there was a study out that said we were one of the least safe states in the country?
What study?
It was a study that said that
Yeah.
we were least...
Done by who,
I don't
where?
remember.
Yeah, that's just it. If you had to go down and find out what it was about, and I've forgotten who paid for it, but it was entirely based on the how restrictive your firearms law was.
Oh,
So the safest
Right.
states were the states with
with no guns.
with no guns, and we were one of the least safe states because we had guns. But there was no correlation to the fact that we had some of the lowest crime rates in the country or anything
So
else.
they were completely forgetting about the causation is not correlation.
Correct. Yeah, they didn't want to use that.
You know,
part.
I've been all over the world in my 22 years as a Marine. I've been in third world countries. I've seen how they live, where they're controlled by the government.
Yeah.
They have no guns. And if you take a look at, and I've been to England, I've been to London, I've been Paris, all. If you take a look at over there, what's going on in London, no guns, strict laws, and they got more knives and more killings with knives.
Oh, yeah.
Over 13,000 in London?
And now they're pushing for
You know?
anti-knife legislation.
Yeah. I mean, that's
7
crazy.
Yeah.
Lon-
Next is going
As
to
if
be
that's gonna
cars.
solve it.
London and the surrounding area, 700 acid attacks in the last year.
Yeah, that's crazy. Something's wrong with that picture. You know what I'm saying? And I think we need to make damn well sure that we protect ourselves and protect our Second Amendment.
Yeah.
You know, right now kids are being brainwashed.
There.
You know, and it's the same thing with things that are going on in the state house. I can go on and on. I mean, you look at Medicaid expansion. You know what I mean? We're sucking all these people into the government. That's Solinsky rules. You know, get them involved.
Get as many
Get 'em,
people as dependent as possible.
Dependent on the government. I'm glad Trump now is the president because now we got more people off welfare going back to work.
You know what
now
you-
you feel better with yourself when you earn a living.
Hey, I wanted to talk to you about one thing I wanted to mention tonight. A study out just recently, 90% of all news stories about Trump are negative.
Mhm.
His poll numbers, he's up over 50%,
Right.
which is better than where Obama was at the same time. I believe
Right.
it's better than where Obama
Yes.
was.
After
spite
his,
of-
in the midst of his second year in office.
Yeah.
Who did that?
I'm
Who
not
ran
sure.
those numbers?
I'm not sure.
I'll know the
I'd have
name
to
there. It
look
was
it
a
up.
well-known CNN actually.
Yeah, it wasn't.
One
It
was a
wasn't. It was a
CNN.
liberal.
One was a CNN poll.
plus 50% plus approval
52,
rating.
I think it was, percent.
52.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, New Hampshire just did a poll also on Trump, and Trump beats all them Republicans. I mean, runs away with the election if they held the primary last week or 2 weeks ago,
Right.
when the University of New Hampshire did the poll. People are happy with Trump. He's saying he's doing
Which
what he
is
said.
amazing, though, because,
Yeah.
like, for instance, the report last week when the federal judge basically said to Mueller, says, "Where's your authority to arrest this guy? The charges you've leveled against him are from like 2013, 2005.
2005 when they
2005.
investigated him.
Yeah, 2005. He has nothing to do with
And he was
collusion.
found with nothing. They had no case on him back then.
Right.
That's what they're using.
And they're pulling it out of mothballs and waving it around as if it's
If it's
substantial.
new, if
Right,
it's substantial, and so the judge says, "I want to see the letter that gives you the authority to go after this, because I'm under the impression it was about Russian collusion."
Yeah.
Well,
And-
it's
they're-
called stick and move. In sports, that's called stick and move.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
That's it.
You
They
make a
didn't-
point, but you don't substantiate it, and you wave it around a bit, and you make it look ugly, and then you run away and try something else.
Because if it's Russian collusion, okay, when Obama sent 1.5 billions to Tehran, 1.5 billion
Cash.
cash, okay,
Where do you come
A
up with that
bunch-
much money?
yeah, it's probably your pocket.
Yeah, under my mattress. Yeah.
Under your mattress.
Yeah, pallets of cash.
Pallets
Yeah.
of cash. When he sent those pallets of cash, much of that went directly to Russia to pay for a lot of the nuclear stuff that Iran was doing. Okay? So the only one that one of the primary movers and shakers that loses when Trump yesterday said that he's not going to abide by the Iranian treaty, one of the big losers in that decision was Russia. So, and that's not the first time. So if Trump is colluding with the Russians, he's doing a really, really bad job of it.
You ain't kidding. Jesus, I don't understand it, especially in Syria. You know, dropping them bombs over there, and with the going after them on their money and oil and everything else, and putting restrictions on them.
Well, yeah,
Something's wrong.
because that one,
I hate when that happens.
It's not earning a lot of
He's a
goodwill.
bad man.
that one overtly embarrassed Putin, because Putin said, "If you try to bomb us, we will stop you."
Right, and he called them out.
He called him out and did it anyway.
Right, yeah.
Which
Sure
was an
did.
embarrassment to Putin, which showed that he really couldn't stop them.
Yeah.
And so everything Trump has done since he's got into office is stand up to Putin and do everything else but collude with the Russians.
Well, see, the advantage Trump has is he's been playing the big dog game in the Big Apple for a long time.
Big time.
And he knows what the big dog game is all about.
Right.
And really what needs to
Well,
be done.
I don't know if either one of you are aware. I've been probably in the White House 3 times, in the last couple of months on
Yeah, I
different
know.
issues.
Your wife posts
Yeah,
pictures.
so I've been fortunate to represent New Hampshire on veterans issues. there.
Absolutely.
And
We're very proud of that.
I've actually was with Dr. Shulkin a few months back at the White House and told him about the issues in Manchester. Told him that you need to get your butt to Manchester. That's just the way I said it to him.
Right.
I said, we got a lot of problems. I said, when I sent you an email with the issues and you never answered me. And of course he apologized. He said he was busy. But this was on a Friday. That Monday, I got a call from the chief of staff at the VA, wanted to know what my conversation was about. So apparently, Shulkin made a call, wanted what's going on. I told him, you're effing over veterans. You're not taking care of them. You're screwing them over. I'm getting a lot of complaints. But anyways, then 3 weeks later, the whistleblowers came out. You know what I mean? They blew the whistle at the VA.
Look at that.
You know what I mean? But
Jiggle the handle,
yeah,
and shine a
but
flashlight.
prior to that,
What
I
happens?
was, like I said, with Shulkin at the White House, raising hell about what was going on in the VA.
And that's that.
You know?
That last name. Forgive me, I was unfamiliar with it. Is that the person that's running the VA nationally?
Dr. Shulkin was.
Dr.
He just
Shulkin.
got fired.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought he was doing a good job, but he abused his position.
Okay.
11 days on the government with his wife over overseas.
Oh, right,
Got
right.
tickets to Wilmington when he was supposed to be there on a veterans issue. I don't know what VAs we got in London
He pulled
or
a
wherever
Papa
he was
Smurf.
at.
Well, Wimbledon,
Where's
there's
Wimbledon?
not a lot of veterans.
Yeah,
that-
so I don't know what he was doing over there with his security, government, aircraft.
Trying not to get noticed.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I think you know what I bet. I bet that was so accepted under the Obama administration that he just didn't think anything of
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
Devil's advocate on that. There's been other people that have overused their national resources. I mean, I know that Daddy Sununu, we kind of got caught at that. I don't want to throw him under the bus, but that's
Right.
the first thing that pops to mind.
Right. No, you're right.
So I don't want to be
same
partisan
thing.
about that.
Right.
No, I know.
Yeah.
So
But I'm saying I'm not talking about Obama. Well, I guess I did,
But-
but
the
I'm talking.
administration-
I'm
The
talking
past,
about
Republicans and
I'm-
Democrats
I'm
both
talk-
in the
I'm-
past.
I'm talking about the swamp in and of itself. That's like standard operating
Right.
procedure.
I agree with you there.
And then Trump comes in and says, "Why are you doing that?" Because he was a businessman.
Right.
Okay, if he found out one of the people that he's paying to go to X to do X decided to spend that money to go someplace else and have a good time, I don't think he wouldn't
won't
last
take it.
long.
No, not at all. But see, before, nobody ever brought it up. Nobody ever investigated it. That was just everyday business. Now, because it's Trump, they're looking at this stuff now and they're raising hell about it, which I'm glad they are. They should have been done it for Republicans and Democrats throughout the years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, just look at Melania Trump. I think Mrs. Obama had like 22, 23 people for her staff. Mrs. Trump, Melania, has, I think, about 8 or 9 on her staff.
Right.
And she's doing the same stuff as the First Lady.
Yeah. Yeah. They've
Right.
they've cut staff and everything else.
And the same thing in the
And
State
Trump
Department.
just last week took his first quarter earnings and donated.
Oh, he's been doing that every quarter.
Yeah, I know.
He's been donating the money to different projects there.
And you don't see it making headlines either.
No, not at all.
And it really should.
Well, and it's a shame. And I was a Democrat for many years.
Yeah.
I grew up in Cambridge, Massachusetts. My grandfather, 4-term mayor. I know the Democrat playbook. I grew up with Tip O'Neill, Ted Kennedy, John Kennedy, all of them. So I know. I sat and listened to it as a kid. And what I see going on, I left the Democrat Party because I got tired of seeing how when you put taxes on, the working people have to pay that. Because if you got deep pockets, you don't care. It's the same thing what's going on in Manchester here with this new mayor. You got no respect for the working people. They just want to tax and spend. And it taxes people who worked all their lives out of their homes. Because when you retire, you don't get that paycheck you used to get. You get your retirement, your Social Security, and other stuff. So you don't have the big bucks unless you were fortunate to put a lot of money away or in stocks or whatever. Not everyone does that.
Right.
So we're forcing. It's a form of cleansing, in my opinion, of people without deep pockets to get them out and bring in people with deep pockets that can
So
afford
she's,
it.
quote, gentrifying downtown.
Yeah.
Or gentrifying the city.
Right. And it's a shame. And I brought this up in my town in Londonderry. On the more and more that we keep taxing or raising property taxes, you're pushing our people that have been out there for years in town.
Yep.
They won't admit that that's the agenda,
No,
or
right.
part of it anyway.
Yeah, and they want deep pockets. They want people coming in. They make good jobs
they do the same
for the
thing-
school systems and
They
everything
do the
else.
same thing in your town where they keep increasing the acreage you need to build a house. And
No, we haven't done that. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Which I mean, in a
Or
way,
zoning it so nobody can build a house.
I'm in a town that has the airport. We have a lot of industrial area.
Yeah, you
you
guys
know,
actually get
right.
pretty good.
So we're pretty good on a tax base. Our taxes actually went down 2 years in a row, and that's a very unheard of.
Got a ton of business in
right?
Londonderry.
And that's because Kevin Smith, if you know him, he ran for governor before. He's our town manager. He was from Londonderry.
Oh.
So he's doing a great job in the town there. We just can't. Our school numbers are dropping, but yet the costs are going up. Something's wrong.
Something's
You know what I mean? We have to get a handle on our schools because we cannot sustain the school budgets going up and up every year after year.
Well, I know we have a problem in Ware because it's the same thing. The school attendance is like going down, and then they reorganize things, and it's still the price keeps going up. And the biggest problem is really that when we have deliberative sessions, people don't show up.
Right.
And so the people that do show up are the people that are, probably going to make, get a raise out of it or get this or
Oh,
get
yeah.
that. So the people that are going to benefit from it show up to vote, and the people that are going to actually pay the bills don't.
This is why it's very important under an SB2 town is to educate the voters to understand, because if you don't go to deliberative session is just to move stuff forward, to the ballot.
Right.
The ballot is where it counts. unless you're in a
Not
regular.
really, because
unless it's a town meeting.
No, because what they do is they've rearranged a lot of the
default
default
budget,
budget
right,
so
that's-
that it's higher than the proposed budget, which we know is a bunch of BS.
Yes.
It's
Now,
misleading.
we just
Yeah.
had a piece of legislation that passed the House. It's over in the Senate, and I'm hoping that they fix where it fixes the default where, because if they got rid of teachers' positions, they leave them in the default budget.
Right.
And if they paid off certain things, they leave it in the default budget to justify more money. Okay, but this legislation that passed was to take that stuff comes out of the default.
Take off
It's
take
an
off all
honest-
the icing off
It's
the
an
cake.
honest default budget.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting to see what happens with it. How if it finishes and goes through the Senate or it goes to committee of conference.
Yeah. What else is going? What we get? This is, as you remember, this is the time of year that gets really, really sketchy.
Oh, big time.
It gets
Gosh,
wicked
it's
sketchy
crunch time
because
for you guys.
you have senators and House members that have certain bills that they really, 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 really wanted. So,
So they're trying to tack
they
them
have
onto
committees of
anything
that- Right.
conference,
Yeah.
and then they tack something, or they'll have a bill and they'll tack something else on it that they want. Then it has to go to a committee conference where there's some horse trading.
Right.
Then it comes back to the full House for a vote. But a lot of times we're not privy to what happened in that room.
And the people at home, you guys don't see all this backroom bargaining and all this kind of thing.
Right.
The word is germane, and that's the word they use up in Concord. Is this idea germane to that original bill?
Well, the Senate don't have to be germane.
No,
per
they
their
don't.
rules. They really don't have rules like
That's
the House.
true.
The
That's
House
true.
has to be germane. I'll give you a perfect example. SB 193, which in my opinion is a great bill for low-income children that are in schools. Because I'm a true believer in one size does not fit all. Because I'm one who was stationed in Delaware. I moved into an area with great schools in Bear, Delaware, not knowing they were going to bust my kids into Wilmington to a poor school, okay, to a very bad grade school. So I moved my family an hour away to Aberdeen, Maryland, and drove every day to Delaware to go to work at the Marine Corps Reserve Center. So I sacrificed, like 2 hours there, 2 hours back with the traffic for my children's education. SB 193 is that form of education bill because it takes moms with low-income people, because I couldn't afford private school.
Sure.
It's the money follows the child where, okay, now if it's not working out in that public school, you can take your child and put extra money into it and put them in another school.
Or a
in
charter
a private
school, maybe.
or a charter school.
Yeah.
The opportunity is there. But it's for low income, so they have the same opportunities that people with deep pockets have.
Right.
And I thought, and
they
I
have
couldn't
something
believe
called school
the Democrats
choice.
are fighting us on this.
Well, why wouldn't they?
Well, Doug, because they think the money should go to the public school. They're worried about money in the public school, not worried about the education of the kids. Each kid is an individual.
I completely agree with you, and they're also overlooking the fact that when somebody uses their school choice option, they're only pulling 48% of what would normally be budgeted for their kid to
Which
go
is
to the
about
public school.
$3,500.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
getting less than half. Their
Right.
kid is getting less than half in terms of tuition money from the system that would be getting spent normally if that kid was attending the public school.
But if the kid wasn't in that school anyways, and as he was homeschooling, the school wouldn't be getting the money anyways.
Right.
So they're throwing this out. Oh, you're taking the money from the public school. It's not about public schools. It's about that child, the future of that kid. Moms and dads involved in their children. The Democrats are fighting us on this because the teachers' unions. That's what they're fighting. They want to protect the unions.
Well-
I wish they would let teachers go and let them teach. Okay, instead of giving the big raises to all the upper echelon, the administrators.
Most teachers would agree with you, even though they don't appreciate your
Yeah, if
stance
you-
on the unions, they would agree with that statement.
Yeah.
I know that it seemed like, I don't know if I haven't paid attention for a while, but I was paying attention to Manchester for a while, and it seemed like every other week they were hiring another administrator
That's right.
at like
That's
100 and
crazy.
something $1,000 a year.
That's steep.
That's
And it's
less
like,
money that
holy-
goes to the teachers that are working hours, that are doing a great job. Let them teach. Take the restrictions off. Take the gloves off. Focus on adequacy education. You know what I mean? And then let them go.
Yep. Yep.
Local control. Moms and dads, get involved in your children's education.
Yeah.
That's what SB 193 is about.
Yep.
You
And
know?
take layers of bureaucracy
Right.
out of the equation, if you can.
Yeah. So what are you going to? So anyway, all that being said, what happened is the House last week. I am at fault partially on that one. We came on Wednesday, we voted, and it was voted to study 193. And then the following day, there was a vote for reconsideration. And I thought I had set my alarm, but I didn't. I woke up at like 9:10, and the House started at 9:30, so I missed the vote, which I think is one of the few important votes I've missed.
Well, they started early.
Yeah,
Usually
they
start
started half hour early, which
okay.
is stupid. They should have waited till they knew there was enough Republicans in the room to bring it up.
Oh, I agree.
Anyway,
But
so
see, the thing is, the Democrat brought up the reconsideration.
okay. So
Yeah.
anyway, so it basically the reconsideration failed. So what happened was, right after that, the Senate added that to something else, 193 to something else. Now it's coming. It's when a bill goes over to the Senate and they change it, it has to go for given the option to go to a committee of conference,
Right.
which means select member of the House go to the committee, and a few senators go and they hash out where their differences are.
I'm chairing one Monday, matter of fact, on a veterans bill.
And so there'll be, if they get a unanimous vote, then it goes back to both bodies and is voted on again. And so tomorrow we're going to vote on whether or not to concur or ask for a committee of conference with the Senate's addition of 193 to whatever bill that was. So how were you going to vote on whether or not to concur?
Oh, I'm supporting SB 193.
So you're voting to concur you
Yes.
don't want a committee of conference?
Well, I'm going to vote to concur, to let it go, to be just pass.
So what if they
Without going to
If
committee.
it votes non-concur, I'll support the committee of conference.
Right, okay. So
what
the
I'm saying?
first vote is to whether or not to concur,
Right.
and we
Well,
hope,
no. Depending on what the committee did.
Okay.
If the committee's vote, or they said we're going to do a committee of conference, then that will be the vote.
okay.
Will be for committee of conference. It won't be to concur. It'll say committee, the request committee of conference. So
Right.
that will be the vote.
So we vote against that and then say,
No, we support the committee of conference.
okay, that's what I didn't know.
Yeah, we'll support the committee.
Because
of conference.
my first inclination was to vote against that and then vote for concurrence, period, and
Watch my handkerchiefs,
yeah, watch your handkerchief.
Wouldn't concurrence be a shorter route to getting
Yeah, it
what you
would.
want?
because then you won't have. It won't need to go back into a committee of conference. I agree.
Right.
But the thing is, there's some issues that they want to hash out on SB 193.
So it's better that it get more of a
Right, a
magnifying
committee of
glass.
conference and let them hash out the differences that they want, and then we'll come back to the floor. I would prefer just to concur and then just let it go, and
Sure.
with the amendment that the Senate put back on the bill,
Well-
and then that's it. It's done. It's passed.
The problem is, what if the Senate attaches something like that to a bill that you don't fundamentally agree with? So now you've got a
see,
conflict.
What they did, they passed it, put it on a bill with school choice.
Okay, so
naturally, we
so they
want that
work
bill,
well
right.
together.
Yeah, it worked
okay.
well together.
Well, that's actually one of the reasons we had on Marcy's law. They got up and made a motion for indefinite postponement.
Right.
Right.
To make sure it was completely dead, because now the Senate can't add
Right.
Marcy's law to something else and try to
Right.
pass it.
And Marcy's law had some great intentions. Okay, it was a feel-good bill, but New Hampshire's already a cut above many other states when it comes to victims, rights.
Right.
We're already doing a great job on it. Don't need to be in the Constitution. 5 paragraphs or whatever that Constitution amendment was didn't need to be there.
Well, the last paragraph was the killer, because as you know, most of the Constitution is based on the idea of protecting the people from government.
Right.
Right.
The last paragraph of Marcy's law protected the government from
right.
the people.
Yeah, that's right. And that,
So
I
here's
couldn't
the weird
support that.
part. I know that our governor was vocal about supporting it. He's a Republican. We're Republicans. He's the lead Republican in the state. Did he give an explanation to the party, or at least to legislators, that made any sense to you?
No, I didn't hear the explanation.
I don't-
wasn't there when he was pushing it. So I don't know. He might have done it, but I didn't
No,
care.
he came to our committee and
Yeah.
pretty much
Did he?
lied. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my.
Because the legislation I read, I didn't like it.
No.
And I wasn't going to support it. And I don't care what anyone told me. Nobody was going to, tell me I had to vote something that wasn't,
Sure.
worth it, because it went against the victims in a certain area.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, where it protected the government versus the victim.
Yeah, because the real problem we have with victims in the state isn't the lack of laws, it's the lack of accountability
There's no
of
meat.
the police and sometimes the court and sometimes the attorney general not doing their job in protecting the victims. But this, if it were passed, would have given them complete immunity. So the same people that you want to have accountability that aren't necessarily doing their jobs well, you're give them complete immunity. It was
Total carte blanche, huh?
yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
That's no good. That's not a constitutionally sound idea.
But I mean, if like some of the other stuff that's going on, like Medicaid expansion, what they keep throwing out these numbers of 48,000, 50,000 on Medicaid expansion. Do you know you can own $1 million home? You could have Mercedes sitting in the driveway, but only get so much money coming into your stocks or whatever to live off of. And if you're under a certain level, you qualify for Medicaid
That's
expansion.
the formula. That's the formula.
There's no assets, where they can put a lien on your property to get the money back, like they do somebody that's low income on Medicaid that owns a property, or somebody goes into a nursing home. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
They look at
put a
liquid
lien on their
assets
home.
first, but
Yeah.
they do ask what you own, and they do ask for a valuation.
Not for Medicaid expansion. Nope.
Not under expansion.
Not under Medicaid expansion. It's what you make, what your salary is.
Purely.
Yeah. The other
Purely.
thing too
Asset. There's no asset test.
The other thing too is I believe it was under the Medicare expansion. Once that was in last summer, the GELCAR voted in to allow the coverage of
Transgender.
transgender
Yeah,
surgeries
That's right. And therapy.
and therapy. So
Yeah.
so basically, you have some, and because Medicare expansion is also limiting
Medicaid expansion.
Medicaid expansion also limits some procedures,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like for the elderly. So you got elderly people who can't get certain care, but you can get a confused teenager and get his plumbing changed.
So let's tell the folks at home real quick, what is GELCAR?
Joe, go ahead.
GELCAR is a joint legislative committee there that let's say Health and Human Services, where there's no legislation that was brought forward, they have the opportunity to bring rules forward, to write the rules that go towards a bill that we already passed. Now, that lasts for, I think, a year, and then there's a way to extend it, or we have to put it in law, or some are extended even longer. And then GELCAR is a joint committee, Senate and, Republicans that vote on that.
Senate, yeah, Democrats and Republicans, they all vote.
and from the Senate and the House.
Yeah, and GELCAR voted, two Republicans actually voted for.
Yep. I was at the hearing.
Yeah, I was so
Yeah.
caught and picking angry.
I was
I
disgusted.
talked to somebody that works up at Dartmouth,
Mm-hmm.
and they said the quantity of plumbing jobs they've gotten after that coming in from Vermont because it's covered is huge.
Yeah.
Really, people are spilling in from another state? What are they,
Well,
relocating? or
No,
something?
they're just coming in and
One
getting
thing
their
most-
plumbing changed and going home.
On our
This
dime.
right,
Yeah.
but then there's another bill, the transgender bill.
That's what I was told. I haven't gone
Now,
watch.
the transgender bill. God help you. I have nothing against. If you're transgender, you want to wear a dress, that's fine. This is where I draw a line. The transgender bill that passed the House, what that means is state of mind. I have feelings that I'm a female. Now I can use the ladies' room. I can use the gym.
Yeah, today.
I can use the locker room. Okay? Because in the thing it says they may have medical documentation in the bill. Now the governor made the mistake and said that he would support this. He would not veto it. But we got people that are calling the governor saying veto. The question I want to ask you here to watch this show, do you want your little girls in the gym, in the shower, in the locker room, in the bathroom getting changed with looks like a beautiful girl but has a male package? Because some you really can't tell until they got their clothes
Well,
on.
yeah, but no, it's worse than that.
You know?
Because all they have to do is claim to feel
Right.
like a girl.
Yes.
So it could
A
be
state
a
of
guy that is absolutely heterosexual.
But I'm talking in the schools. I'm talking in the
I'm
gyms.
talking in the school.
I'm talking little girls. Because if you're older, you can protect yourself, from these perverts.
Yeah, but I'm
And
saying.
not all transgenders are pervert, but the ones that are out there will abuse it.
Yeah, but I'm saying is that a 14-year-old boy who claims to
Right.
be a girl
Yes.
can go in there and there's nothing they can do, even
Right.
though he has no intention of ever being a girl.
Well, that's true.
but there's no
Right.
restriction.
No.
Because
there's
once
none.
it's feelings,
That's
then
right.
anybody, I got
There's
those
no
feelings.
burden of proof, and there's no standardization
There's no
of
standard.
proof.
And I'm a father of 3 daughters, and I have 2 stepdaughters. I have 7 granddaughters. It'll be a cold day in hell. I would want some girl, who's actually a boy, in the shower, in the changing room, with a package, changing and taking away my kid's innocence.
Or worse, somebody that doesn't even have the pretense of pursuing femininity
Right.
with their dress,
Yeah.
and just claims what they claim because they know they can.
Here's another.
That's called an unintended consequence, and it's something that legislators are
Should.
supposed to carefully
Right.
consider
Right.
and avoid.
Where are those children's rights versus the transgender, a very small minority?
right.
Where's the
There's-
majority's
there's
rights?
Here's another angle. I heard.
Call the governor.
I haven't read the, yeah, exactly.
Tell the
Call the
governor
governor
no.
and say, please
Right.
don't pass 1319. There's another variable, and I haven't looked at the article myself. I just heard of it. And it talks about the fact that over the last, 30 years, the quantity or the intensity or level of testosterone amongst boys has dropped precipitously. So what if
Chemically, it's
chemically,
dropped, or
yes.
culturally, they're
Chemically-
encouraged to act as
Right.
if it's
No,
I didn't culture it,
no,
yeah.
I am talking chemical. Okay,
for real.
for real.
Okay.
Okay, so now what if? Because I don't know if you know this, but I deal with a lot of people with different problems, and I can attest absolutely that certain chemicals will encourage people to act a certain way.
Right.
They might be the greatest person in the world, but if you put them on this
You know,
drug,
you may be right on the chemicals because half our country is on psychopathic drugs.
well, not just that. What if there's because they put all kinds of chemicals in all the food you eat. What if there's so much estrogen in the food that these children who are confused about their sexual identity are confused because of a chemical imbalance?
Yes, I
what
don't
if
know.
and the thing is, and let's go one step further. So let's presume I'm right, just for argument's sake. You have a 14-year-old boy who has gotten so much estrogen from food, or maybe it's in different chemicals that are getting into his system, that his testosterone rate level is so low that he has that feminine feeling of femininity. Okay, so if you were looking at that and looked at a chemical balance and said, okay, well, what we really need to do is treat this kid with testosterone to build the levels up.
Oh, that would be a big no-no in today's cultural climate.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the other bill we passed
now
that
you
makes
can't-
that illegal.
Right.
We
can't
want
bring-
to extinguish masculinity.
Yeah, but
Didn't
now
you know?
Now you can't bring him to a psychiatrist and talk about his feelings.
Because
on
it's not PC.
femininity.
Yeah, the only feelings you're
Because
allowed
they've
to
had
talk to.
legislation and banned. What do they call it? They banned it. There's a name for
Therapy,
it.
transgender therapy, or something
There's
therapy.
another name for it.
Yeah, there is. But yeah, they have banned. So if the kid's level of testosterone is low enough and the level of estrogen is high enough, and they're having chemically feeling a certain thing, looking at that as logically and say, okay, we'll just give this child more estrogen, more testosterone, build that up, and I think they'll feel better
Right.
and feel more masculine. Instead of doing that, which is logical, the only option is to give them estrogen and shut down all the testosterone that's actually flowing in their body.
It's known as androgen blockers.
And, yes,
Well, I think
sorry,
the people need to know and realize that the Democrats that voted for that bill, along with a handful of Republicans that override the numbers of the Republicans that were there that voted against it, they think that the government owns your children, not moms and dads. They took away your parental rights with that vote.
They
for
took.
parents to
They
make the decision.
constantly take.
Right.
Just how many years ago was it? Last term that the
Haven't
Democrats.
you heard it takes a village?
Yeah, really. Last term, they believed, and enough Republicans. Again, you have to blame the Republicans
There's a handful.
too.
There's about 20, 25.
But it's majority
But-
Democrats with a handful of Republicans passed a bill
Yeah.
that said that your 14 or 16-year-old daughter can't go to a tanning salon to get a tan before the prom,
Or she can get an abortion
but she can get an abortion and
Right.
have her
without parental consent.
and have her plumbing changed.
Yeah.
All of that is okay, but she
Right.
can't get a tan.
So I think if
It's
you're
like
a Democrat,
it's so whacked out.
and I was a Democrat for many years, I hope you would look at the platforms on both parties.
Look
and,
how they vote.
and then make a decision and say, do you want government running your life,
Yeah.
or do you want to run your own life?
There are those that would come back at that question with, well, let's look at the happiness index in Finland or in Scandinavia or in other places that the government's role in your wallet, your pocketbook, and your rights are much more expanded than they are here.
It's a
And there are-
communist country there.
Yeah,
They're
there are those that
socialist.
would say, but people say
know?
they're happier there. So how can you say it's a bad idea?
Well, I think they're happy because the government's telling them that you're happy.
Oh, wait.
You
Here's
know,
another.
that's the reason why. Yeah, you're not happy on your own. You're only happy because you're used to people taking from you. You're used to people telling you what to do, when to eat, when to breathe, when to go to bed. That's the communist thing.
And yet people seem to appreciate paid family
Yeah.
leave
Okay,
compared to what
okay,
we
Some
have
people
here.
are puppets.
I'm devil's advocate.
I
Some
know,
people
I
are
know what you're
puppets. They
saying,
like
and I
government
agree.
telling them what to do. I don't. I want government out of my house, my pocket, and leave my guns alone.
Now, here's
Okay.
the other thing. The thing is if you have a pen of sheep, right? They're going to be. You keep them fed, they'll be happy.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Big
Okay.
Brother's taking care of me.
If you have a group of wolves who are out taking care of themselves, they're not going to be happy.
No.
Because they don't know about their next meal. So the question is, as a society, what do you want to do? Do you want to be sheep ready for the slaughter, or do you want to be the wolves fighting for what you believe in? Because fighting for what you believe in makes you uncomfortable sometimes. It means that you hear things that might offend you.
It's a harder life.
It's
you
a
have to
harder
work harder.
life. You have to work harder.
You got to be more vigilant.
And maybe
about-
you're not
about your rights.
ecstatic all the time, but that's not the point of life.
You know, if you want the good things in life, you got to work for it. You know what I mean? You can't.
Well done.
All the sheep. I like it. Yeah, all the sheep.
Yeah.
You know, years ago.
Well done, Paul
In
the
the
engineer.
Marine Corps under Reagan, we used to say we were lions in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Then under Clinton, we said all of a sudden the sheep are eating the lions because we got to cut millions.
Of all the cutbacks.
All the cutbacks on money. We had no money for training, bullets. And I certified presidents. So, you know, then all of a sudden here you got somebody like Trump come. Now the lions are coming back to eat the sheep because, you know, they don't want big government. They want strength, you know.
Yeah.
I think the lions are
you know,
actually
going
coming
in
back to retrain the sheep.
I think so.
I hope
I
so.
hope so.
Not eat 'em.
And, you know, and teach the sheep how to eat on their own.
Yeah, a little
You know?
self-sufficiency.
Yeah, instead of from the government, because more and more people now are dropping off of the system now, tearing off. Look at Maine. You familiar with the Maine
What are the
welfare to
numbers?
work?
Yeah.
The numbers
yeah,
have
yeah.
dropped drastically when he forced people to go to work.
Why? Why wouldn't they
Well,
want to work?
look at their
All of a
governor.
sudden,
Paul
yeah.
LePage has been very steadfast.
What do you think is
about
going to happen here in New Hampshire now with the waiver we just got on the Medicaid expansion on the work program? That goes in effect here in a couple of months. Watch the magic.
Watch the match.
Yeah.
We tried so hard. I mean, you've both of you are veterans of the House. I was a one-termer, right? But I know in my one term, I observed just how that fight unfolded and just how hard it was to get through to people to help them understand what they were doing today had tremendous ripple effect on what our fiscal profile as a state was going to look like tomorrow. And it's a tough sell because you're getting them to sit down and think like grown-ups.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know what the lower taxes that we've done in the business taxes, the BET and the VPT?
Right.
Right.
I was in a leadership meeting today. We're looking at over not only the $100 million that we're already projected revenue, another $90-something million extra coming in, okay, from businesses and taxes in the state that are coming in. So I sat through to listen to some of the bills because, and I agree with one of the putting 20, maybe $30 million into fixing red line bridges, put it into infrastructure.
Right.
The extra money that came in. And then some of them, we have some court cases that we have to pay off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some settlements there, a couple $100 million on the Medicaid hospital expansion type bill that we were sued on. So, you know, that's going to take, I think, 5-6 months. I mean, years of paying so much a year of millions of dollars.
Well, anyway, we got to wrap it up. So
Wow, that went fast.
I know
Went
it
real
always does.
fast.
It always does.
Well, we
And-
got 3 minutes.
Wait, no, we got 2 minutes. We got 3 minutes.
Look at that.
But I just want people to remember my brilliant idea of the deer spinner. I got to come up with a better name.
Now,
Deer
can we adapt that? Will we be violating your
Patent.
Your patent if we
Well,
turn that
if you
into
didn't
a?
copyright it, you're all set.
That's great.
Patent.
You
Patent.
gotta scrawl down your idea and mail it to yourself. That's a poor man's copyright.
Right. Anyway. What?
Yeah.
So
well,
you were
can
gonna
we
say?
adapt it to other creatures and other
Yes. Yes.
further up the food chain? Yeah.
Yes. Well, you could do it like for squirrels, because sometimes you shoot the squirrel in the bird feeder.
Why can't you just drink the blood?
Because we're not Italian. Not everybody's Italian.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, just checking.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So anyway,
Correlation is not causation.
Oh, yeah, all right. Wait.
I like steak medium rare, and there's still a little blood coming out.
Oh, yeah, but this,
Sure.
well, then you slow it down to 600, we'll have an adjustment.
Yeah.
Okay, but so, anyway, so the deer spinner, if people out there
He
really
likes some begging still.
like this great idea, send checks of at least a minimum of $100,000 to me so that I can make the prototype.
There you go.
Care of me, and
No,
I'll
no,
handle
just
the rest
me,
of it.
Just
Don't
me.
forget.
Just
While I'm
me.
on here, don't forget to call the governor and ask him to do not sign the transgender bill.
Yeah,
Veto
absolutely.
the bill. Protect your children.
Now, what,
Moms and dads.
now
take,
what if
take charge.
his eyes glaze over when you make a request like that of him, when he's thinking about his ability to be viable at on election day?
That's-
Soft Republicans and whatnot. He
You know
wants to
something?
appease them too.
I
doesn't
hope
he?
he's not. I hope he's worried about. He got elected to do a job, not look for the next election.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's voted
You know,
to fairly
I make-
represent the
yeah,
people. That's
I make
it.
decisions. Say if you don't like it, vote me out. Then I'm doing the best interest. Keep government out of your life, out of your home, and out of your pocket.
That's the way everybody should be.
Right.
Every bill you vote
That's why I'm running
on,
for speaker.
Are you?
Yeah.
every
Good.
bill you vote on, your only obligation is to do what's right for the people
That's right.
Exactly.
and the
That's
Constitution.
the job, and that's the oath.
If
you
that
take.
aggravates your constituents, well, that's what you're getting
You know
paid to do.
something? I comply right here with the Constitution, the U.S. and New Hampshire Constitution, and that's for the rights of the protection of the people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't care what anyone says. I don't let anyone push me around on the vote. And I support the platform. Not 100%, but I support it.
Sir Al of Baldasaro, it is a pleasure seeing
Yeah, it
you.
was
And an
awesome.
honor.
You're awesome.
I enjoyed it. Well, I can't believe how it went fast. It's great to see my good friend Eric. Hopefully he's going to run again, come back to the house.
This man trained me, helped me cut my teeth on TV in Nashua here. So
All right, we'll see
look up to
you. See you guys next week. We'll
thanks
be
for
right
joining
here.
us. We won't move.